Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss horror. And today I'm here to talk to you about the upcoming horror movies that we can all get excited about for 2024.
It's coffee time!
So this is going to be my first video on horror movies, so I hope that you enjoy it. Every year at the beginning, I like to make a video on the upcoming movies for the whole year so that we can get an overview of what we can get excited about. And even though a lot of release dates are not like confirmed and stuff like that, I always like to make a list so that I can already plan and see which things, are coming and when. To be honest, I think the year of 2022 had better original horror releases than 2023, so I'm hoping that this year we're gonna get back on track. I'm really excited for 2024 when it comes to horror movies because some of the directors that I can always kind of rely on are gonna release new movies like Robert Eggers and Ty West. There's also a new M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out, but with him it's kind of like a hit or miss for me, so we shall see. I'm also happy that this year we are getting some original ideas, but we're still getting a couple of franchise movies as well as some kind of remakes of classic horror monsters. We're gonna get straight into it so that this video is not extremely long, and we're gonna start with the horror movies that already have a set release date. However, of course, these dates might change. There's still some strikes going on, so we don't know if they are gonna stay like this or if movies are gonna be pushed to different months or even to next year. Hopefully not, but here are first the movies that already have a release date. We have Night Swim, which is a supernatural horror film directed by Bryce McGuire, and this is his directorial debut, and the story is based on one of his shorts that he did, and producing it are James Wan and Jason Blum, so this is a Blumhouse movie, and I'm kind of excited because this one is an original idea. A baseball player is kind of forced into retirement because of an injury that he has, and he decides that maybe the best thing that he can do for him and his family is to move into a new place. So the new house that they bought has a beautiful swimming pool that needs to be fixed, but he expects, the swimming pool to be great for the kids and also to be somewhere that he can go, and swim kind of as part of his rehabilitation. Obviously, when they get into the new house, as we know, family moves into a new house, shit's gonna go down, and basically there's something wrong, I believe, with the pool. Some sort of entity, because it's a supernatural horror, but I'm really excited about this one, and honestly it's one of those things that I don't think anybody wants to get like their foot grabbed when they are in a swimming pool. It's kind of horrifying. I saw the TV Glow, and this is an A24 horror movie. I love A24 movies, especially the horror ones, because they always bring unique new ideas to the table, and that's what I want to see. And the director has said this is emo horror, whatever that might be. Owen is an outcast that lives in the suburbs, and he's kind of like having trouble adapting to that new life, but he does make a new friend and they bond over a TV show. However, the TV show is cancelled, but then kind of like the things from the TV show and reality start to blur. So I don't know, I'm excited about this one. It's a weird concept, but it's by the director that did We're All Going to the World's Fair, so I think this is going to be an exploration of life on screen. Your Monster, starring Melissa Barrera, and this one is supposed to be a horror drama comedy, and it is about this woman that is in a really bad spot in her life. She's an actress and she makes friends with a monster in her closet. Now we can take this as a kind of metaphor for our own monsters in our closets, or people not wanting to accept themselves. I think it might have something to do with that, but I am excited. I'm always a little bit in doubt when it comes to comedy horror because it doesn't always work for me, but I am interested to see Melissa Barrera in this role. Founders Day is an R-rated movie, and for the sound of it and the concept, it kind of seems like it's going to be another movie like Thanksgiving, and if it is, I'm here for it because Thanksgiving was one of my favorite horror movies of 2023 because it was a lot of fun. So there is a heated mayoral election coming up in this town, and some people start getting killed by a mysterious person with a mask. So it's a mask killer that is targeting people when they're about to go into an election. And you know, it has everything that Thanksgiving had when it comes to concept: small town, big event coming up, masked serial killer, and we don't know who's the killer. Is it one killer, two killers? So it's kind of like, again, the Scream franchise kind of vibe. So I'm here for it. Backhead, directed by Alberto Corredor, and this is inspired by a short that he did of the same name, and it's about a woman that buys, I think, a pub that is not in great condition and needs to be fixed, and then on the basement she finds some sort of creature called Backhead, and this entity or creature allows you to speak to a dead loved one, a deceased loved one, but it comes, of course, with a price. Out of Darkness, and this one is very interesting to me because it is set way back in the past, to be precise, 45,000 years ago. We are in the Paleolithic period, and we have a group of 6 strangers that are on a boat, and they come to shore to a place that is kind of like very deserted, and they are having trouble to find shelter, find food, but of course they're gonna realize that they are not alone. They're gonna hear things, and I don't know what to expect from this one because I've never seen a horror movie like based so back in the past, so just for that I'm intrigued. Lisa Frankenstein, and this is a movie that is written by Diablo Cody, and she was also the writer of Jennifer's Body, which was a great movie. I thought it was very unique, very fun. It's one of those horror movies that have a lot of fun elements and that worked for me, so I'm really excited for this one. We are in 1989, and we have a misunderstood teenager called Lisa, and she brings back to life a corpse from a Victorian era. So she takes a boy from the Victorian era and I think brings him back to life, so that's where Frankenstein's monster comes from, and I don't know what to expect, to be fair. Is this gonna be like a weird necrophilic love romance? Like, I don't know, but I'm here for it. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Now, I don't know the plot of this one. I think the plot is still under wraps, but do we need a plot for a movie like this? I think not. If you've seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, you know what you're getting yourself into. Now, this movie is supposed to be goofy, supposed to touch all the tropes of these slasher movies. It's not supposed to be intelligent or have like character depth. It's just there to be fun, and the movie is very self-aware, the first one, and they know that this is a low-budget movie, but honestly the monster design I thought was great, and I thought the kills were fun, but obviously it doesn't have the best acting, not the best storyline, there's plot holes, all of those things, but if you're just going there for the fun, you know, this is one to go. Imaginary is a supernatural horror movie that is directed and produced by Jeff Waldo, and I'm not a huge fan of his work, I have to admit. He did Truth or Dare and Fantasy Island, and those were flops for me. So I don't know what to expect from this one, but I love the poster. Jessica moves back to her childhood home with her family, and she finds her old teddy bear called Chansey, and her stepdaughter really gets attached to it. So I'm guessing that Chansey is gonna be somehow alive, somehow evil. So I'm excited in that regard because I do like movies with evil toys. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and even though this is not extremely horror, but it is supernatural, it has ghosts, so I decided to include it here. I did enjoy Ghostbusters Afterlife. I did not watch the Ghostbusters remake before that. I just said I was never gonna watch it, and I still haven't, because I saw the trailer and I was like, no thank you. But Ghostbusters Afterlife I did enjoy, and I think it's a great movie for kids, and for parents that love the original movie to let their kids watch the new movies. I think these ones are good. And we follow the Spengler family as they go back to New York and they have to fight there a new evil. The First Omen, and this is of course a supernatural horror film, and it's going to be actually a prequel to the original movie from 1976, so to the original The Omen. So I'm really excited because they decided to go with a prequel. I think if it would have been just another simple sequel or another reboot, I might have not been so excited, but this being a prequel, I'm intrigued. It follows an American woman that is sent to work at a church in Rome when she discovers some sort of like plot conspiracy, some people that are trying to bring back the Antichrist. Then we have an untitled monster movie that is coming out, and we know that it's starring Melissa Barrera, so she has 2 movies potentially coming out in 2024. So things are looking great for her. She doesn't need the Scream franchise. We don't know exactly what this movie is going to be about, but the project had previously the name attached to it, Dracula's Daughter, so it could be potentially a movie based on Dracula. Other people have speculated this could be possibly Frankenstein's Bride, but we don't really know, so we will have to wait. Immaculate is a psychological horror movie starring Sydney Sweeney. Now, I do like her and I really liked her in Euphoria, but I don't know if this type of movie suits her. I know she's a good actress, so I guess we will just have to see. I just don't see her in this type of role. We follow Cecilia, who is a really devoted religious woman that is sent to work at a very prestigious convent in Italy, and when she gets there she's gonna uncover dark secrets of the place. So I think I have a problem seeing her as a really devoted typical Christian woman, but we will have to see. Return to Silent Hill, and I'm really excited for this one. I've always really loved the games, and this one has the same plot. It follows the same story of the second Silent Hill video game. So the original Silent Hill movie adaptation I thought was great. The second one, guilty pleasure, I guess. I don't mind rewatching it, to be honest, but it's not as good at all as the first one. So I don't know what to expect. This is gonna be the 3rd installment in the franchise, and all I can say is that I have high hopes because I do love the stories. Imaginary Friends, If, and this is a movie directed by John Krasinski, so I am immediately interested. It also stars John Krasinski himself, Ryan Reynolds, and I think also his wife, Emily Blunt, is part of the cast. And it's all gonna be about imaginary friends from their kids, and I don't know how this is gonna blend into the horror, if it's gonna be a lot of horror or not, but we will have to see. By the looks of it, it might be more kind of magical slash fantastical horror than anything, but I am interested. We are also starting in 2024 the Strangers new trilogy that they announced, so we're gonna get chapter 1, and it is supposed to star Madeleine Pesch, that I really like, so it's gonna be also the 3rd installment in the Strangers franchise. This is, however, going to be a standalone trilogy, so it's not gonna be per se connected to the other 2 or take off where the other 2 ended. I think at the beginning they did market this as a reboot, but then they said that they're gonna follow kind of like a continuous line with the other 2 movies. So I don't know to which point they are related or not, but I do know that it's supposed to be a separate trilogy, but I guess it's gonna follow the time continuum from the other 2. We will have to see. The Watchers, based on the book by the same name, and this is going to be the directorial debut of Ishana Night Shyamalan, and yes, it is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, so I'm really excited to see what she has to bring to the table. It stars Dakota Fanning and Georgina Campbell, who are 2 actresses that I also like, so extra excited for that. It follows Mina, a 28-year-old artist that gets stranded in the middle of the woods, and she does find at some point shelter and finds other people that are lost just like her. But then apparently during the night there are some creatures that are coming out and terrorize them. So don't know what to expect, but honestly I'm really excited to see what she has to bring to the horror genre. A Quiet Place Day 1, and this is a spin-off, a prequel, so it's going to take place before the other two movies that we already have. So I am excited because I think when you have a post-apocalyptic movie, for me, one of the most interesting things to see is how it all, how it all went down, how it all went to shit. And this is what this movie is going to give us. Now, it is not going to be written or directed by John Krasinski, which is one of the things that has me a little bit nervous. I think he is one of the co-producers, so he is involved in some way, but the fact that it's not his original script or things like that does scare me a little bit, but we will have to see. Horoscope, and this is based on a book that came out in the 80s, and this one I think is going to be cheesy, and it's potentially going to be maybe not the best, but I'm hoping that it's going to be fun. So it's about a group of teenagers that start dying in the same ways that their horoscope predicted, something like that, but I'm here for it. Trap, and this is going to be the 16th feature film by M. Night Shyamalan, so he has kept the plot under wraps, so we don't know exactly what's gonna be, but it is supposed to be a psychological horror thriller, and it also stars Josh Hartnett. And we also know that the story is gonna be set at a concert, but that's about it, so we're still gonna have to wait for more information. Speak No Evil, and with this one I have a bone to pick because this is a reboot of a Danish movie that came out in 2022. You heard me right. This is already a reboot of a 2022 movie. And it's simply because some people just don't want to watch originals and read subtitles. And this is something that has always really annoyed me. And I just stop. Like, there's so many original ideas out there in books that have not been adapted. Just stop rebooting things that just came out last year. I'm begging ya. Now, it does star James McAvoy and Mackenzie Davis, who I enjoy, and I think just the fact that James McAvoy is in the movie is the only thing that has me interested in watching this at all, because also a lot of the American reboots, and I don't want people to get offended, but a lot of the American reboots of European movies or Asian movies, they are watered down. They are less brutal, less gory, or less whatever you want, less horror. Everything is watered down, and that also annoys me. Also, I don't know how they're gonna do the story, because in the original movie you have families from different countries. You have a Danish family and a Dutch family that meet during holidays. So after the holidays together, they decide to exchange numbers because they have children of the same age. So when the Danish family comes to visit the Dutch family, things get really awkward between them, and it kind of explores how society has almost conditioned us to always say yes, to always comply, to always accept things, just to be polite, just to be nice. And the movie is brutal. It's brutal. Is one of those movies that's gonna leave you with a bad taste on your mouth. It's one of those movies that is gonna get you to rage. But that's the beauty of the movie, and the ending is absolutely brutal, but that's why I loved it. Alien Romulus, and this is going to be the new entry in the Alien franchise, and it's going to be directed by Fede Alvarez, which gives me a lot of hope for horror in the movie, since he did the reboot of the Evil Dead franchise, which was fantastic. So I am expecting a bloody, horrific alien, and that is something that I'm always happy to see. It also takes place between the first and the second movie, so it is between Alien and Aliens. And yeah, I'm just excited. Beetlejuice 2, and this is going to be a direct sequel from the original movie from 1988, and it's also directed by Tim Burton, and we have a lot of the cast from the old movie come back, and we also have Jenna Ortega now added to the cast. This just looks fantastic. I was a little bit nervous at the beginning because it's been so much time, so many years since the original movie, and I really like the original Beetlejuice. But you know, since Tim Burton is doing it and we have some of the old cast, I'm willing to, you know, go open-minded, and hopefully I will enjoy it. Saw 11. Thanks to Saw 10, they realized that people are ready for a relaunch of the franchise in a way, and I think they realized after Spiral that that was not the way to go. So when they actually did a movie that was more focused on Jigsaw and Amanda, everybody loved it. They went back to the roots of what a Saw movie, you know, was supposed to be, the essence, and they did achieve that with Saw 10. So they're coming back now with Saw 11 in 2024, and this one is supposed to take place right after Saw 10. So if you don't know, Saw 10 takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2. The thing is, obviously, Tobin Bell has aged a lot since then, so it is something that doesn't make much sense, but we just ignore it because we are enjoying finally to have him as the main character. And I believe in Saw 11 we still follow both of them, Jigsaw and Amanda, just after the events of the Saw 10 movie. Just keep going for revenge. Smile 2. This is another movie that I don't think anybody predicted, you know, how successful it was gonna be. Part of it was for the amazing marketing campaign that they did. This is a movie that was set to be released directly on VOD, but after all the good marketing worked so well, they decided to bring it to theaters, and I'm really glad that they did because I had such a good time watching it on the big screen. So we're gonna get Smile 2, and it's obviously gonna be with different characters, so it's gonna follow different characters than the ones that we had in the first movie, but I'm really excited. It has the same director, and you know, the first movie was a great kind of study on grief and horror, and it got crazier and crazier. The ending was lovely, so I'm really excited to see what they have to bring on Smile 2. Wolfman, directed by Leigh Whannell and starring Christopher Abbott. We don't know much about it. It's just a typical Wolfman movie. Man gets bitten, turns into a werewolf, that kind of stuff. But I'm excited because Leigh Whannell has had such amazing ideas, and I've always really enjoyed his work. So I'm excited to see his version of the Wolfman. Terrifier 3. So Damien Leone, when he did Terrifier, I don't think he predicted that it was gonna become this cult classic that everybody loved. Terrifier 2 was a big success, and it was even shown in theaters, which I would have never imagined to see a movie like Terrifier 2 in the theater, to be honest, because it is brutal. And I mean, I had a blast. I've watched it a couple of times, and I love that the director also is not getting financed by big studios because he wants to keep his, you know, decisions. He wants to be able to make the choices that he wants and put all the violence and all the messed up stuff that he wants in the movie, and he doesn't want big studios to make him cut things, and I applaud that. I applaud that, and I'm really happy because I cannot wait for this one. Now, it's coming out in October, but based on the poster and what we know, it's going to be a Christmas movie. So all the joy that this is gonna bring me, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I am just so excited. We just have like a little teaser, and I'm so happy. I just hope that it comes here out in the cinema on time so I can watch it for Halloween. And yeah, this is one of my most anticipated ones. And now we have another one of my most anticipated movies that I've been waiting for, and that is Nosferatu. This is going to be the new Robert Eggers movie. I have loved every single one of his movies in different ways. His debut was The Witch, fantastic. The Lighthouse, a little bit over the top, but you know, Willem Dafoe farting in the movie was my Roman Empire at the time. Then we had The Northman, fantastic. And then we have now Nosferatu, and I am so excited because he has taken one of my favorite things, which is vampires, especially Nosferatu, the original German movie, and there's also a really good Nosferatu movie called The Shadow of the Vampire, which I really recommend you, and I really want to see his take on it. Plus, the guy playing Nosferatu is none other than Bill Skarsgård. Let that sink in. You're gonna be able to see Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu. There's never gonna be a hotter Nosferatu than Bill Skarsgård. There, I said it. It also has Willem Dafoe and Lily Rose Depp. I think that role was gonna go originally to Anna Taylor-Joy, but she couldn't make it because conflict, you know, with other projects. So she was recast and Lily Rose Depp got the role. So I'm excited to see how she does in the movie because I haven't seen her in movies that I have absolutely loved, but it's Robert Eggers. So I have full on 100% trust in that man. Oh yeah, Nicholas Hoult is also in it, which is another one of my faves. I mean, the cast, the director, this is gonna be one of the best movies of 2024. We're also gonna get a new Jordan Peele movie in 2024, but we don't know anything about it yet. We just know that Jordan Peele is coming out with a new movie in 2024, and whatever it is, you guys know I'm gonna watch it. Now let's talk about the movies that don't have a release date yet. So one of my most anticipated ones that I've been waiting for the last couple of years is Maxine, which is gonna be the third and final movie on the trilogy that Ty West started with the movie X. Now, a lot of people either hated or loved X. I loved it. I went to see it to the cinema a couple of times. I loved that movie. I loved Pearl. And now we're finally getting the third installment in the trilogy called Maxine. The Home, this is a psychological horror thriller starring Pete Davidson, and the director is the same guy that created the Purge franchise, so immediately interested. The Purge franchise, you know, the Purge movies are kind of like a guilty pleasure for me. I don't think they're all great, but I think they are such a fun, comfy, like, watch. We follow a troubled man that starts working in a retirement home, and he realizes that there are some secrets there, something weird is going on there. There are some rooms in the 4th floor that are supposed to be forbidden, so there's some sort of mystery that he needs to solve. Witchboard is a remake from a movie that came out in 1986 of the same name, and it's going to be a supernatural horror movie starring Jamie Campbell-Bower, so I'm really excited to see him in something different. If you don't know, Jamie Campbell-Bower plays Vecna in the Stranger Things TV show, and Vecna was one of my favorite things from the last season, so excited to see him doing something else. We follow a couple that lives in New Orleans, and they find this kind of like Wiccan board and pendulum, something that they shouldn't be playing with basically. And it's something that can summon spirits, and I think they do something and they get themselves in trouble. And then they seek the help of an occult expert that is played by Jamie Campbell-Bower, and so this is going to be probably kind of like a witchy movie. The Conjuring Last Rites, we don't know anything about the plot. The plot is under wraps, but we know that our main characters are returning for this new installment. The first 2 movies were haunted house kind of stories. The third one went a different route, so I don't know if they're gonna go back to the hunting places or not, but there are many other interesting cases related to the Warrens that maybe they could explore instead of going back to the typical haunted house story. Then we're gonna get finally Shelby Oaks, which is the directorial debut of Chris Duckman. He wrote and directed this film. This is his baby, and we all have been really excited for him and been waiting for the movie to release. It's about a woman that is trying to find out what happened to her lost sister, and she thinks it might be something related to their demons from their childhood, and I think she also comes across to some paranormal investigating people and stuff, so I think this is going to be really atmospheric, and I'm really excited to see Chris Duckman's vision because, you know, he has been doing YouTube videos about movies and talk about movies, and he's very experienced in the field. He loves horror, so I have high hopes for this. 2024 might also be the year that we finally get the Crow reboot. This has been in the talks for many years. They have changed directors, they have changed actors. So I don't know if this is ever going to see the light, but as it stands today, this is going to be based on the comics by James O'Barr from 1989, and the comics are not exactly the same story as the original movie from Alex Proyas was. As you guys know, The Crow is one of my favorite movies, so I'm really excited to see what they do with the character. I think the sequels that they did after the original, you know, some of them are very questionable. For me, you know, the best is the original, and I've always been really scared of a reboot of this, but since they're gonna base it more on the story that the comics have, which is different, and they have casted Bill Skarsgård as Eric Draven, I'm willing to give this a shot, and I'm really happy because you guys know I love Bill Skarsgård. We also have They Listen. This is a movie that, you know, is an American horror movie with plot under wraps, so not much that I can tell you about it just yet. Never Let Go, starring Halle Berry. So she comes back to horror after Gothica. I'm really excited to see her in this role. And it is about a family that has always been hunted by an evil spirit, and they feel like they're finally safe when one of the children starts talking about seeing something evil. Faces of Death, directed by Daniel Goldhaber, who also directed Cam, a movie from 2018 that you can watch on Netflix that I think was a great movie. And it stars Drake Montgomery, who played Billy on Stranger Things, and I really like him. I really loved Billy. Hashtag justice for Billy. And I am really excited about this one. It is a woman that it is employed on a company that kind of reviews videos and content for websites, and she comes across some videos that are violent death scenes from movies. So this is another one that, the same as with Cam, it has to do with the internet, with the World Wide Web and videos and stuff, so I am really intrigued. Don't Move, and this follows a killer that injects their victims with some sort of poison that kind of slowly paralyzes them. So a woman that they have kidnapped has been injected, and now she needs to try to run, escape, fight for her life before she gets paralyzed. This sounds truly horrifying, so I want to see it. Long Legs, and this one is starring Nicolas Cage, whom we love, and it follows a detective that is investigating a case of a serial killer when he realizes that this case is not only connected to the occult, but it's something that he learns about the case that makes him also believe it's connected to him and his own life. So yeah, Nicolas Cage, serial killers, sign me up. Cuckoo starring Hunter Schafer. This is a movie that was supposed to come out last year and it didn't. Now it's predicted for February 2024, but we don't really have a release date yet, so that's why I didn't include it on February. A 17-year-old girl is forced to move with her family to a resort where things are not exactly what they seem. Stream, and this follows a family that is kind of like drifting apart, and they decide that they have to do something in order to bring back that family dynamic and those holidays together. So they decide it's time to do something fun, and they check into a hotel to spend some time together, but there's also 4 murders on the loose, so they're gonna have to just defend themselves from them, and you know, we'll see who survives. Weapons, and this is directed by Zach Cregger, who directed Barbarian, and Barbarian was one of my favorite movies of 2022. I absolutely love that movie, and this one is also starring Pedro Pascal. We love him, and so I'm already in. All I know is that it follows the disappearance of multiple students from school in a small town. That's all I need to know. I just, you know, based on the director, everything, I just want to watch it. Dust Bunny, and this one stars Mads Mikkelsen and Sigourney Weaver, and I am immediately intrigued and I want to know. It's a horror thriller. The film follows an 8-year-old girl that asks the neighbors for help to kill the monster under her bed that has killed and ate her parents. That sounds fantastic. Handling the Undead, and this is based on a book by the same name, and this is a summer in Oslo where some of the dead come back to life. They come back to town, they just walk in like, hello, what's up, I'm back. And so the people in town need to figure out what they want, why are they back, and this just sounds crazy. And I actually have been meaning to read this book since I really love Let the Right One In, which was also by the same author. So I think I'm gonna read the book and then watch the movie this year, and I'm really excited. Adrift, directed by Darren Aronofsky, and this is a movie that takes place in the calm open sea when a fishing boat responds to the very weird distress call of an abandoned yacht. I'm kind of interested. So this is kind of like a ghost ship scenario, and we don't get way too many like horror movies based on sea that are not about sea monsters and sharks and stuff like that, so I'm excited to watch this. All My Friends Are Dead. So this follows a group of friends that managed to score a room at a B&B for a very like popular festival, so they're really glad that they got a place somewhere to stay. However, when they get there, they start to die one by one, so they're gonna have to figure out what's going on, who's killing them, and I believe it's all related to a deadly sin, so I'm kind of intrigued about this one as well. We shall see. I guess this can be kind of like a hit or miss. Crawlers, and this possibly will come out in October 2024, and this is a movie that is based on the year 2030, and it basically follows humanity after a zombie apocalypse, and it has wiped out the majority of the population, but then the survivors discover that there's supposed to be a sanctuary somewhere in Mexico that is zombie free, so I'm guessing they try to make their way there, so we're getting a new zombie movie. What Remains of Us is a drama thriller based in 1965 2025, and it stars Kit Harington. I don't know exactly what to expect from this one, but you know, I'm intrigued to know more about it. Aradia is an action horror thriller, and I'm really excited for this one because we follow a man played by Nicolas Cage that goes to save his children at an abandoned family farmhouse where they're being threatened by some creatures or monsters. It's Nicolas Cage trying to save his kids. Like, I'm here for it. That was everything, you guys. I know it's a long list, but it's kind of like an overview of things that are potentially coming out in 2024. As always, things might change, dates might be pushed back, but these are the data that we have at the moment. So I just wanted to compile a list for you guys so that you can get excited of what's coming in 2024. Let me know down below which of these movies are you the most excited about. For me, probably it's going to be Nosferatu by Robert Eggers. I have been living for that, and for Terrifier 3, obviously. So they're both coming at the end of the year, so I have a lot to wait for until October, December. That's when they're coming out. So let me know which are the ones you are the most excited about, and if there's any other movie that you really want to see in 2024 that I did not mention, leave it in the comments down below. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!